Ryan Reynolds' failed TV station on Fubo, the Maximum Effort channel, which he started and signed up with Fubo several years ago. It was suddenly canceled in 2025, not long after all the lawsuits started. He had a show on that network called Bedtime Stories with Ryan Reynolds. It came out and was made in 2023 with a total of 10 parts. There was no channel on this that was especially made for kids. I don't know if this is appropriate for kids, but Ryan has now licensed the 10 episodes of Bedtime Stories with Ryan Reynolds to Nick Jr. The first episode will air on March 2, and the show will run every night for 2 weeks until all 10 episodes are shown. He has now signed a license deal with Nick Jr. Do you know what Nick Jr. is? It's a service for kids in preschool. It's like Dora the Explorer, Blues, and those shows. Yes, and the news was revealed yesterday on Deadline. And it says that the 10 show's first season will air on Monday through Friday, March 2nd through the 13th at 9:30 p.m. In the show, on Nick Jr., Reynolds reads new and famous bedtime stories as the tales magically come to life around him, creating a warm, playful, and imaginative wind-down experience for kids, parents to enjoy together. It was made with George Dway, and it aired on Fubo. He had created this because he says he has anxiety, and he wanted to have a way to share the stories that he reads to his children at night. But I remember when this was out, I thought it was really weird and creepy because his low voice is kind of scary, and his jokes that he does are not good for children. And he's like playing Deadpool, but Deadpool as a dad. And the moving sheep are creepy, the lighting is creepy, and his low voice is creepy. And I'm like, why the hell would Paramount or would Nickelodeon pick this up? Nick Jr. And then I'm like, oh, you mean because what? Paramount owns Nickelodeon. Paramount. And their statement was Nickelodeon to air bedtime stories with Ryan starring Ryan Reynolds beginning March 2nd. And it's like the exact same statement that was put out by Deadline. Who owns who works at Paramount now? Josh Greenstein. So, it would appear that Ryan has a first looks deal with Paramount. And what he's doing is he's licensing reruns of a series that previously played on a channel where nobody watched it. Maximum Effort channel was canceled on Fubo because it had terrible ratings. Alright. Nick Jr. is not known for massive numbers. Their nighttime ratings are usually under 100,000 viewers per hour. Some of their shows in the mornings and the afternoons do better, but this is not like the Nick at Night channel. This is also a channel that doesn't do adult content. It always is airing children's content. So, if you're a mom or dad and you have a toddler that can't fall asleep from 9 to 9:30 next week or 2 weeks from now, it's going to be Ryan Reynolds and his creepy voice trying to tell your kids to go to bed. You know what they say about narcissists? They just never know when they've lost a story. Ever. Ever. I highly doubt that this deal is going to give Ryan a ton of money because, 1, it's Nick Jr. It's reruns. So, it's basically just renting an already packaged show that was made. He's just trying to make more residual income off the show that he already made that didn't do well or perform well on Maximum Effort channel. So Ryan's obviously still in need of vehicles for cash, and he's still trying to find a way to license what he's made to other vehicle, to other networks, to other brands, to other whatever. And this is the best he can do is a 10-day stream with Nickelodeon Jr. One of my followers sent me the news for the show yesterday in my inbox, and I looked at the comments. They sent me the news from Entertainment Tonight, and it would appear that nobody's interested. I took a scroll through the comments sections, and the comments are no thanks. I'll read to my kids, and if I wanted a substitute, this wouldn't be my choice. Good luck though, buddy. Lots of memes and like gifs of Justin Baldwin. And someone said in his arrogant tone, no thanks. Who thought this was a good idea? Probably going to read the kids from his favorite books, How to Become a Con Artist. Nope. Does he sue you after? This is a joke. I don't even have kids for him to read to, and I don't want it. I came for the comments and was not disappointed. I don't need a jerk to read to my kids. Maybe CPs should go to their house and check the kids if they are safe in the house. Who asked for this? I came here for the comments. Literally nobody wants that. Nobody. No thanks. Please remove this message as this is traumatizing for most. It's Ryan. It has to be a joke. Did he steal these stories too? Oh my god. Absolutely no one asked for this or wanted this after all those emails and bullying execs. America, save your kids. No thank you. No thanks. No thank you. No thanks. Seriously, no thank you. So many oh my gosh, these responses are wild. Remember when Ryan Reynolds improvised a slap across the face of a child while shooting Amityville, and that script supervisor was left crying in horror at the unexpected violence? Maybe Nickelodeon can find a host that doesn't attack children, or anyone for that matter. I would say that Ryan still doesn't quite understand that he's cannelled. Bedtime stories, please tell me it's not the one where the villain creates fake problems, raises his voice for 5 hours, and somehow ends up with someone else's project. Classic. Oh, that's a good one. Oh my goodness. Please, Nickelodeon, please look at the comment section. Who thought this was a good idea? You know what? I went to Nick Jr. and they didn't post about it. I'm assuming because Nick Jr. is mostly like Dora the Explorer, and Blue, and cartoons. It's such a weird addition here. I'd rather have Justin read to my children. Literally would rather have Justin do anything over this tool. If this is the best his agent could do, Ryan Reynolds and BL must be really desperate. I was hoping he would still hide under a rock for a long time. He looks like a pedophile in that photo. Cringe. I don't see a single comment that's like positive. Yeah, this is not getting the reaction that he was probably hoping for. Now, I recognize there are definitely people that like share these posts on Reddit and they tell people to like go comment and get everything going on. But I don't think that Ryan really gets that the public is no longer interested in his ridiculousness. So, the fact that he's like selling a show that no one watched for reruns to Paramount through Nick Jr. via his best friend Josh Greenstein doesn't surprise me, but it kind of tracks because I think he's at a point right now where he's trying to find money anywhere that he can. And one detail that I've noticed over the last several months is that he owns the majority of Wrexham AXF, or AFC, with his friend Rob.
And he and Rob bought this club years ago. It was in financial disrepair, and they've been doing a Hollywood makeover and turning it into a story and a reality show. And the club itself has been successful, and they are currently trying to get into the Premier League, but they're in 7th place, and I don't think that's going to happen.
But they have not been able to keep up with the costs and the demands of bringing the team forward. They got caught up in this grant scandal where they got a bunch of public money because they wanted to repair the stadium, and they took the money, but then the locals in Wales got super upset because it's well, these guys are supposed to be Hollywood billionaires or millionaires. Why are we, the public, supposed to be paying for all of this stuff? And so as he started getting kickback for that, he started selling off stakes. So when the news breaks about this public grant that they get through Wales and through the local government, he sells a minority stake to Apollo Sports Capital, which is a private equity firm. And the deal valued the club at $350 million and included an investment specifically for the redevelopment of the Stock K Ross Stadium and the new Cop Stand. And then they received 47.83 million cash through a single new share, and it was filed with Companies House just before the January transfer deadline to bolster the club's championship campaign and stadium infrastructure. So they get money from Apollo, and then they also got money from the Allen family, which is another equity group here in the United States, and they got 15% that was back in October of 2024. So Rob and Ryan can't afford Wrexham. And they can't afford to do what they want to do with it on their own. So they're bringing in all of these other companies and investment firms to buy minority shares. And I was talking to someone that knows this kind of the backstory here, and they just don't think that the long term is that Ryan and Rob will own this team for long, that he'll just keep selling off small minority stakes until it's owned by a bunch of private equity firms with everyone owning a minority. And then they will sell out. He's trying to rank up the valuation as much as possible so that they can sell and tap out. That's what I was told, allegedly. But regardless, if he can't keep up with the cost at Wrexham to do what he wants to do and he has to sell off the stupid show that nobody watched, Nick at Night and the next film he has coming out is apparently on Apple TV, and it's like a movie that he made that sat on the shelf for 2 years. He is not doing as well as he would like people to believe, and he's definitely not a billionaire. One thing that he doesn't like, and I think he was aggravated the most by, was that Steve Sarowitz said that he was not a billionaire. And one thing that he's liked to point out about Steve is that a billionaire is trying to destroy him and his wife. If he was truly a billionaire, he'd be able to fund Wrexham, and he also wouldn't need to sell his stupid nighttime stories to Paramount. And it was several months ago that someone reached out to me who was in privy to the deals that happened with the MMTN company that he was part of going public. And they were discussing about how, Ryan felt like they alleged if he threw like maybe 10 million at a lawsuit that would be worth it to repair his reputation and to repair her reputation, and then he could just go on along the way. What he didn't expect was that they would fight back and that Steve Sarowitz would be the one with deep pockets fighting him. And Ryan doesn't have those same kind of deep pockets. And the lawyers that are working for Blake don't work for free. Manott, Phelps and Phillips charges anywhere from $1,200 to $2,500 per hour. That's the estimated bill for the trial that for her lawyers there. And then you got to talk about Wilkie Gallagher, where Michael got the attorney, and his Wilkie Gallagher also charges anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500 per hour. And then she also has a CIA deputy chief, Nick Shapiro, doing her crisis PR right now. So she's paying 2 law firms, dozens of lawyers, and crisis PR. Big law firms are so expensive. And right now, we are over a year into this. And I was trying to get a sense of this. And online, there hasn't been like a single report. But there's been some articles and like experts that have estimated that they have probably spent close to $20 million on this lawsuit so far, and they haven't won anything. In fact, what's happened is it looks like they're going to lose. So, they're bleeding money funding this lawsuit. In the time frame that this lawsuit has been filed, Ryan has not put out any new films. Blake has not worked at all. He has needed to take out money to secure and improve Wrexham. He's now selling reruns of a show that nobody watched to Nick Jr., to people that a network that nobody wants. And I've seen all kinds of people all over the place boycotting this.
He's got to sell, he's still got his aviation gin, but I don't think anyone buys that either. In fact, I don't know that the sales are going all that well either. There's been a steep decline in the gin market, I guess, in the last several years. And the company actually decreased its volume in 2024 for aviation gin, I guess.
And then Mint Mobile, which he still has to be the face of because it's a performance-based sale. And Mint Mobile keeps getting sued for privacy violations and hacking and all these things. So, I don't know how well they're doing, but I do know the amount of money that they're spending on this lawsuit is ridiculous. And it's amazing to watch this play out, that someone can have such a severe narcissistic injury that they would spend so much money on a lawsuit and fight a billionaire because they don't want to admit that they caused their reputations to go in the toilet. And mind you, Ryan's got agreements with every single company that he will not do anything to destroy his reputation. And his reputation is what fuels the sales of the brands that he's selling. And so his market share, which is his face, isn't worth as much as it once was. I just keep wondering, is one of the companies that he's involved in going to go bankrupt? And something else I've noticed is that now that their summary judgment hearing has occurred, and they have had months where they just kept filing relentlessly nonstop on the docket for sanctions, for attorney's fees, for anti-slap motions, for sanctions against Brian Friedman to kick a Brian Friedman off the case to get money for Leslie Sloan and Ryan Reynolds to spoliation sanctions. They spent so much time on all these different sanctions motions that once the evidence came out and it was unsealed, it's like they've gone silent, completely silent. There has been no new filings. There has been no new motions. It's like they have, in a way, realized I think that they lost the plot. Ryan didn't even show up for the hearing with Blake because he's a liability. It's now in public what he said to executives at all kinds of different companies. And for months of non-stop smearing through the court docket, it is radio silent. Now, it's not uncommon to go silent while you're waiting for judges to rule, but that hasn't stopped them before. It hasn't stopped them from filing unnecessary documents and motion work. But maybe the slowdown now is that they've realized all that money they spent is going to end up wasted. I have a sense the judge, when he does rule, is going to get rid of a large portion of this case. But what state will that remain and leave Blake and Ryan? And what kind of long-term consequences will come after that? Because if it's deemed that this case is frivolous and that there was nothing in terms of social manipulation and reputational injury here, because nothing has injured his reputation more than his own text messages, and he can't blame that on anyone but himself. So once this case is closed, is he going to end up getting sued by some of his business partners? Is he going to get cut from his talent agency? Is he going to have any consequences? That I don't know. But it would appear that he is currently and presently scrambling for cash. He and his wife. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, besties.